one practice. Now it is became 17. So there is 17 more which have not started. Okay, so you have to start, and some people even completed most of the assignments, right? These people who has this all the scores, they are pretty much they are done with everything, but some people have not even started. Hmm? There's a huge gap, right? So there could be a minor gap, like these people are practicing and going like this. They started and working on. So whoever is in newbie, red, so try to look forward. Okay, you must be in good and excellent in order to get. You cannot be anywhere in other locations. You have to go to good, excellent to get the internship certification. So if you have not spent time, I have given a lot of time, right? Mainly to make sure that you practice well. So now you have to do it. And today's session is very important. Carefully take the notes and listen. So in next session, we are going to start with the project work. So but today we are going to talk about Matplot and Seaborn, and you must have all the you must take all the notes today so that in the next session you can be able to understand how to deal with the project work. So let me look at this labs here once. The test account. So clearly Python, most of you done well. It's a very good conversion. Very few people, I believe, is just due to the not practice. If you have practiced, then you will not be here for sure, because there is a lot of help here. I told you, right? Even if if you go and hit this particular thing, left side conditional statements, there is a solution here for a particular one of the problem. Even if you take the solutions from here and go and solve it, you will definitely come to average. And if you use a bit of your knowledge, like a 10, 25% of your effort, then for sure you will come here. Without any effort, you will come to this one. Okay, how do you do that? There is, if you go here, there are like solutions, right? So for this, all these problems are, for example, unique numbers. This program is there in this. Okay. So this particular program solution is given in this. You just write it in the paper, go here and apply that, and you will get the score. So, and some programs are just learn. All the learn type, you just need to run it and you get 1 mark. So by using this system help and the learn programs, you will automatically come out from red to average. In average, if you put a bit of practice, right, 25% of effort, then you will be in good. So if you have not done that, then then obviously you will be somewhere here. Same thing with the data science. If you put 25% of effort, okay, so most of it are very, like, imagine these people, some people got 78 out of 78. The max score is 78, and some of them got 78. That means obviously there is 100% score that we can able to get it. And for sure you should not be in in the gray or red. For sure you should be in good and excellent, because it is quite user friendly system, right? There is a lot of help inside. If you are not getting it, means something wrong. So something wrong with the attempt, nothing else. Okay, so today let's talk about this next. Let me see how many people joined. 7. So more missing again today also. Not sure. Anyway, let's continue. Let's get to record the session. And, okay, it's already started. So in today's session, mainly we are going to talk about few things. One is mainly we are getting into visualization, right? Remember earlier in one of the class, I told you very clearly, we are going to learn basic Python programming that is required as a language. Number two, we are going to learn, the data inputs, right? In the format of either list such as array or NumPy, which is n-dimensional, and pandas, which is matrices, kind of rows and columns. Okay, kind of the Excel type. If you can read that Excel and read the sheets. So it's all about, one is programming language, which to interact with business logic and process the data. That is the programming language is required. That's why Python you learn, and followed by you have learned list and NumPy and pandas. List is all about a simple data representation, which is comes with data separated by commas. Similarly, we also have sets and tuples and with various reasons. And then we have NumPy, mainly in order to work with the bigger arrays, right? List is a small array. If you want to work with the bigger arrays, like matrices kind, then you go for n-dimensional, right, arrays. Simple. List is a small array kind, and NumPy is a bigger array kind. Then the pandas is even bigger array, kind of the rows and columns are expanded in format of similar to the Excel. The very simple concept. So you just need to understand is with the pure human life cycle, like the way that we deal in life. So when you have a small set of data, you go for list. When you have a moderate data type, bigger than the small data set, when you need to represent it into rows and columns, then you go for NumPy. When you are talking about complete data sets, like data files in a large scale, it comes with rows and columns again, then you go for pandas. Now, so you have programming language Python. You also have input, libraries like list, NumPy, and pandas to take that inputs, and Python is going to process. But what is the output after doing that? So we have inputs, which is NumPy, pandas, list, and programming language Python is going to process it. But what is the output? How do we represent the output? So now in today's session, we are going to talk about the presentation. Okay, the output presentation of this particular whatever we process. Okay, so that is basically call it as visualization. For the visualization, we are going to use two of the libraries. Okay, which are mainly, one is Matplotlib, the other one is Seaborn. First, let's learn about Matplotlib, and we'll also look at Seaborn, and then we are going to practice with some examples. Okay, and today we are also going to look at how to use Google Colab, which is similar to the Jupyter Notebook, where online, very simply, you can, if you have a Google account, Gmail account, you can simply get in there and start practicing. And that is where we are going to do the project work. So mainly in Matplotlib, we are going to import the library. Okay, similar to like you have learned how to import NumPy, pandas, and all that, right? Similarly, we are going to import this library to work with the Matplotlib. It's all about plotting, like drawing a graph, right? You always deal with X and Y axis, right? X axis, Y axis, and then you are going to send the parameters, the values in both the directions to, then that is where you are going to do the plotting. So in Matplotlib, once you take this plotting, right? Once you provide the data here, assuming that you have x coordinates and y coordinates, and we are passing it to draw a plot. Technically, this matplot is taken from the MATLAB. So since it is coming from the MATLAB. So if you just send the coordinates like plot, this. So here import matplotlib.pplot as plt, okay, which is nothing but pplot, and this has one of the method called plot, and it can take x coordinates and y coordinates, right? So when you send this, what happens? It is going to represent and render the plot, diagram for you, but it will not show in browser. So there is another method called plt.show. So this thing will render in the MATLAB by this representation mainly. You see that we are operating on a hidden variable representing the figure. It only its only purpose is to pander to MATLAB users. So, but in our in this particular web-based that we're using in dataset Python, we need to write one more statement called plt.show, so that the diagram will come. So again, with a bit of bigger example, a bit of expanded data here. X axis, x coordinates. I am taking a range, okay, between -100 to 100 and incrementing it 10 at a time. And in y coordinates, we have x square, and in the x direction. So we are plotting these values, and the system is going to, since we are using the range, automatically it is going to render the the numbers between those range. So finally, we have these steps like one is we are passing these coordinates, and then we are also passing the negative values. So then you are adding labels like x label as x, y label as y. It can be changed to something else, and then the limitations. Finally, we are also drawing lines like horizontal and vertical lines, and the final output, it can be showed as in the browser. Also, you can also save that as an image. You can just name something here and make it as a particular image, and we can try with the various image formats. And so after saving the image, you can, if you want to show that output in the browser or in the window, then you need to say plt.show. If you just want to save and quit, then you don't need to call this method. There are various examples, defining in such a way. Just I try to brief you on high level, then Jashwant is going to take you to the labs and explain, each element in detail. So mainly, as I told you, we are going to use the matplot in terms of representing the data output. So obviously, the inputs will be either list or NumPy or pandas. Okay. So the inputs can be, so obviously we need data inputs. The data inputs always comes from either list, or a tuple or variable, or sets, or NumPy or pandas. In one of these things, NumPy mainly, it can even convert any kind of given data in a certain format into n dimensions. Whereas pandas, it can convert into ranges like x, x and y ranges like rows and columns as a spreadsheet. And using one of those data inputs, you can represent the output. So here, mainly in Matplot, you need to learn how many ways you can, how many different type of graphs you can generate, and how to take the data inputs, and how to render it, and how to basically position those coordinates, and add the labels and all that. So there is also object oriented interfaces, which you will kind of notice that in one simple diagram you can also do it in a multiple approaches based on the data inputs. So you can there is a different labels for each representation. You can do a lot more. I'm just quickly a high level, just passing through. Then you'll also see that practically how it is possible. So this is here a bar chart, and here bar chart with scores by group and by gender. This is the code that is going to take you to this level. So mainly here matplotlib used, and the data input used as a NumPy. In NumPy, the data basically taken these labels as a list 1, list 2, list 3, and these lists are sent to NumPy to represent these labels. Okay, just understand very clearly. So technically, so we always begin with kind of data inputs, okay, which is either a set or or tuple or a list, and that is going to go inside the NumPy to make them as a n-dimensional arrays. Okay, so from there that will be given to plotting. Okay, similarly, if you are using Excel, for example, to plot something, then you will go for pandas. Since you are dealing with a list here, list of data, we are basically passing that list into NumPy to represent the data into n-dimensional arrays. After that, that is sent to this NumPy. Now basically the representation of this entire thing, like NumPy.arrange. What are we arranging? These labels. What do we have in these labels? We have a list. Each one is a list. So then all this arrangement is basically given to a variable called x. So where is the x going? It is again going to plotting, like a plt dot subplot. So in this inside you are basically creating a subplots. So this subplot has a one of the method called bar. You can basically select different type of graphs here. One of them is a bar chart, and this bar chart is going to take inputs. Okay, these inputs are nothing but the whatever the value that is given from the NumPy, the x x minus width by 2 or width plus 2, then the label representation, which is like a label, and then list values here, and generally width is set to 0.35, and the label name can be changed. That is why you are getting this. Okay, you can change it to whatever you want. And thereafter, what we are doing, then we are setting the titles. Okay, and the ticks. So basically, titles here is Y label is basically seeing this as a scores. Okay, and in the X label, this is coming as these labels, right? It is a G1, G2, all this here, and in between we are also setting the title. This main title is goes going to here on the top, right? And the Y label is going here as a scores. So we basically done with all the basic setup here. Then so we have another method called auto labeling. So based on this, when you are doing a range, it is going through set of sequential data, right? That has to go through till the completion of the range. So that's why you see this method is called, it is like function, right? So we are going to basically call this function 2 times. One for this representation of this particular set once, and then next the next value range. Okay, for this, so one is for this blue bar, the other one is for orange. So those 2 times is called. Then finally, it is this particular layout will be rendered the minute you call this method. Thereafter, when you say plt.show, then this picture will be coming out. So a few more things. How do we do, histograms and, some in a different style with different data sets. This is one of them. And these examples are there. We are going to give you. You can run it and see. And simulation, like how if I want to do some simulation, like we want to make a rain effect, right? How do we do that? So using this particular program, it is going to come like it. You will see it in live. I want to show you. It will simulate the rain behavior using this just few lines of the code. What happens here? We are using a NumPy and then matplot combination, and some we are also importing animation. Okay. So in the animation here, technically, first we start with this, picture, and then given that some inputs for that, and each time basically this seed, what happens? The numbers are going to come in random, and each time that will act as input. Where that is why this in different positions that the circles is going to come and disappear. So that is how this animation occurs. One more example is this is different kind of 3D waveframe. So you can also generate that using this example. So again here you are basically using the time on NumPy, and we have a method called generate that kind of verticals, and with using different line spacing here. Okay, and sending the coordinates. So I just show you like how to deal with those examples in this platform. For example, background. So we are going to give you example matplot example, right? So this is one of the examples that we want to run and see how it works. So here, the minute when I run, and you are going to get this diagram. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm also using Hebian helper here. So the helper is started. I selected Python and start. Then that is why I can able to do it. Okay. This is one of the examples given to you. Similarly, same example. So this is another representation. Okay. The histogram is created based on that. So just now we have seen this example. Here is the code. From that, here is the output. Similarly, you can, as I told you, you can also do these animations, right? So we are going to give you these examples anyway. I just want to show you that how you can do the animation part. This is the creating a simulation of rain. So here is the output, and you can see that it's pretty much how in the water if rain gets in, then that is how the behavior, right? So that is how it is simulated. And obviously you can play with this and you can make it colors, and the water can be sky blue or some different colors you can make, and make it real natural rain as such. Okay, this is one of the example, but there is no limitation on the experiment, so you can try to do different things. There's a lot more examples, and so I will hand over to Yashwant, and he's going to take you through some detailed explanation about some of the examples here, with talking about library and inside the methods and properties. After that, anyway, I'm going to share this MATLAB and Seaborn examples where you can practice. And try to, I want you to complete all these existing examples. I told you very clearly up to, I think I remember, as I remember. Here also you can see that there are like, 11 data visualization examples and 13 matplot. So around 24 examples are related to that. You better do those, because that is where you will do the project. Okay. So other thing is, as we agreed on another day, we supposed to be going to here, right? Around here. Yeah, till 41. But some of them have done well, but the other people who are in not practiced and red and orange, you have to do it. You have to complete all that and get to the next level. Okay, so that you can able to do the project well. So after this class, then is all about creating the batches and getting into the project titles, and then practicing the project, and you will involve into developing the project and documenting it. That is the plan. Okay, so Yashwant, you can start taking over. You can basically share your screen and get into the collapse and start explaining this.
Yes. Hi guys, today I'm going to explain how the matplotlib works and how to do plotting in Python using matplotlib. Generally, still now you know how to take the data using NumPy arrays, pandas, data frames, and being a data science engineer or a machine learning engineer, first you need to deal with the data, analyze the data, and you need to infer something from the data. How will you do all these things? Uh, a data science engineer or a machine learning engineer do these all things by simply plotting the graphs. Today, let's start from a simple graph. Okay. Uh, um, First, we need to import all the libraries we need to do anything in data science or machine learning things, to develop a model or to do something in machine learning or data science. We need to import the required modules necessary modules before starting the program. So I imported all the libraries I required, like matplotlib, pyplot, numpy, as anything. In matplot, we can plot lists, dictionaries directly into the directly. We need to convert anything into the numpy arrays, right? Not only numpy arrays, as an array which contains a single data type. So first I'll create first to plot any graph, we need x coordinate and y coordinate, right? By taking x and y coordinate together, we plot a point, and joining points we create a line, and like that. So to create first x coordinates, I'm using a method called arrange method. Arrange method is nothing but which creates uh, a range of values from starting to 0 to 2.0 with a step of 0.01. Step means increment. At each time it will increment 0.01. So this is our x data set. Now while coming to a y data set, we simply multiplying with 2 and adding 1 to the x coordinate for each x coordinate. And now we got ready with x and y coordinates, right? Now we need to create the axis. To create the axis, we use the method called plt.subplots. If you use simply plt.subplots, a single axis will create. There are so many methods to plot a single axis, but today we'll deal with this plt.subplots. When we give plt.subplots, it will create just one axis, a one by one axis, and we'll take this axis parameter for further plotting. This plot method, as told, it will simply plot and it will renders the MATLAB and stores the all the x and x coordinates, y coordinates, and the diagram everywhere. And when we use plt.show method, it will come into our browser or any what is a compiler or any screening instrument. And now I just simply the plot with the x-axis as t and simply y-axis as s. Okay. Now after simply us plotting the x and y-axis, we don't know what we plot in x-axis and what we plot in y-axis. So right now, so we simply use x label parameter to name the x-axis what we are plotting. Suppose time. Suppose when we are plotting the time versus speed, we'll say x-axis with time. No, then we need rename with x-axis label here x-axis as time, y label as speed. Similarly, we need to keep a title. We need to give a title for the graph, right? We'll give this using title parameter using in the set method. Okay, we'll get all the graph is built. Now to save the figure in your local, we use a method called save fig method, which is used to download the plotted graph, download the produced graph into your local. Yeah, now just we'll run the. Yeah, you got right. Here you see what we got. Yeah, we got the plot right. Here what we got for 0th value we mapped for 1 and a point is created for 0 on x-axis, 1 on y-axis. Similarly for point 5, for point 5 we got a value like this, right? For point 5 we got a value like around 1.7 like this. First matplotlib will create your points and it will plot the points, means it annotate the points around the graph, and after annotating the points it joins using a line. So like this a simple plot, by using these methods a simple plot can be created. Yeah, next we'll go to another program. How to create a grid in the background. Just in the same way, we import all the libraries we needed. We create the x coordinates and y coordinates required, and we create the axis. We have just two x coordinate and y coordinates, so we need just a single axis, right? So we got the axis and we plot x and y coordinates, and we set the labels this time, voltage versus time graph. In last graph, you saw that background is a pure white. To make it into grid, means to change the backgrounds of the graph, we use the method called dot grid method. Dot grid method simply makes the backgrounds into divides the background into a square grids. You'll see how it got divided. Yeah, you see, last time you got simply white background for the graph. Now we got the background got divided into squares, right? So this is a useful, this is the need using the grid. When we use the grid, we know the plots were plotted exactly. So this is the usefulness for grid. Next we go for another example. Yeah, now you plot a single graph in each plot, right? Now to plot multiple graphs means in our school days we plot square, a straight line, a cubic graph, a quadratic graph in the same graph, right? How to do it? How to do it in Matplotlib? Simply, first we create the x-axis with linspace. A linspace method is also a same as arrange method, which creates an array from 0 to 2, which divides into 100 parts. From 0 to 2, it divides into 100 parts. Okay, same it is a plt.plot method using x and x. When we plot x versus x, we'll get the linear, right? When we plot x versus x square, we'll get the quadratic. When we plot x versus x cube, we'll get the cubic equation, right? So to plot the linear, quadratic, and cubic equation in the same graph, how will you do that? Just simply using a single axis, we'll plot all these things. Plt.plot means in same plot we are plotting with x versus x. In the same plot we are plotting x versus x square. In the same plot we are plotting x versus x cube. Now we'll name the x label and y label as x label and y label. And now for the title, I given as a simple plot. This lesson, this lesson method will create a box on the upper right corner or anywhere in the graph which shows the labels right here. Mm, let's run the program. I'll say what is the label. Here you got a square box, right? This is called as a legend. In legend you get all labels for our three graphs. When it is a straight line as a blue is a linear thing, right? So in legend we'll get the labels of the graphs we had plotted in a single plot. A legend can be placed here or here or here or here. By default, a plot takes the best suited place to get fit, so that it doesn't merge with the lines produced by the graph. So like this we can plot multiple graphs in the same plot. Now next we will see how to plot that graphs in different plots. Means we'll plot like linear in one plot and quadratic in one plot and cubic in another plot. How you are going to plot this, we'll see now. See, as I said, to plot two different graphs in two separate plots, we need a separate x coordinates and y coordinates for two graphs, right? So I created x1 and x2, y1 and y2 respectively for the each plot. X1 will create the x coordinates for first plot, y1 will create the y coordinates for first plot, x2 will create the x coordinates for second plot, and y2 will create the y coordinates for second plot. Similarly, now we got you'll know what is the use of plt.subplots. In plt.subplots, the first parameter gives the number of rows and second parameter is the number of columns. Means it divided into 2 cross 1. A whole plot is divided into 2 rows and 1 column, and each row is named as axis 1 and second row is named as axis 2. To get plot for axis 1, we'll use the axis 1 parameter. To plot the plot 2 means axis 2, we'll use axis 2. In axis 1, we'll use x1 and y1 parameters. In axis 2, we use the parameters x2 and y2. And we know how to uh, keep title for a single plot, right? To get a superior title means the title for both the plots, we use the method called subtitle, which creates a title for both the graphs. Next, as you know, plot method will plot the x coordinates and y coordinates. This O minus means O means a point. To mark the points, we have some markers like points, dots, pentagons, triangles. We can plot with many plot the points with many such marker things. Now I'm taking the points and dots here, and I labeled as y label as damped oscillation for the first graph, and second graph, coming to second graph, I labeled as x label as time and y label as undamped. And you know, plt.show method is used to show the graph what we got created. See, now we got two plots separately, right? In last graph, we got in a single plot, we plot in a single plot means or a graph, we plotted two or more lines. Now we divided the plot into two such things, two rows and one column, such that we have separate x and y coordinates for each plot, right? Yeah, so as I said, superior title, a title for the both plots, a table of two subplots. And for x-axis, I labeled here time, and y-axis undamped, here damped. Why I didn't named x-axis x label for the first plot? If you name the x label for here, this makes our figure look awkward, right? So I just eliminated the x label in the first plot, and I simply gave the x label for in the second plot. Next, we'll see how to plot a histograms, bar charts, and something. Yeah, I think all know histograms, but who don't know, I'll give a small introduction. Histograms is nothing but plotting our points, means making our data set into a set of bins, means dividing the data set into ranges like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. To know the density of the data present in each range, we'll use histograms. Generally, these histograms is used to detect the outliers in the data set while analyzing the data. Uh, okay, like every time we'll do the same steps. We'll import the data sets all needed. Now we'll create the axis what we needed here. 1, 1, or simply eliminating these two things, we'll get these two parameters. We'll get a single axis. If we keep 1, 1 also, a one row one column is nothing but a single axis, right? Now creating an array with these elements array. Now I'm going to plot a histogram. Histogram can be plotted using the method called hist method. In hist method, the first parameter is the array we are going to use. Here I am using the array A, and as I said, it divides into ranges, right? We need to define the ranges. In machine learning terminology or data science terminology, we use the terminology as bins. Bins as 0, 25, 50, 75, 100, right? Means it divides the ranges into 0 to 24, 25 to 49, 50 to 74, and at last 75 to 100. Means it divides the ranges, and wherever the value got into the particular range, it will increment that range, the value of that range. Means suppose at 22 we got 22 as a first element array, right? In 0 to 25 range, we'll get the value of 1. When we got 87, we got a 75 to 100 range as 1. When you got 5, 0 to 25 will get incremented from 1 to 2. So this process will continue until all our array gets completed. Now as I said, set title will keep the title for the graph. Xtix is a new parameter, right? Xtix is nothing but in school days we change the x coordinates according to the graphs, right? Sometimes we keep as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we got the large data set, we turn the xtix as 1, 2 as 0, 5, 10, 15. when we got still large mode, a large data set 0, 25, 50, 75, 100, a still more means 0, 100, 200 like this. So to our requirement, we'll change the ticks, means the x-axis, what we write on the x label, x-axis, we will change using the method called set x ticks method. Similarly, we can do for y ticks. Now in this graph, it is not necessary, so I didn't write anything about y ticks. So we got in x ticks, we'll need to give a parameter as a list, or an as a list. So it will tick at point 0, at 25, at 50, at 75, and 100. And I kept the x label name as marks and y label name as number of students. And I, as you know, plt.show method is used to show the graph what we got produced, right? Yeah, is you'll see that from 0 to 2 range we got um, 5 values in our array. So 0 to 25 range we'll get 5 values. From 25 to 50 we got only 3. From 50 to 75 we got 5 again. When 75 to 100 we got 2. Like this, we'll divide the whole data set into ranges, and we'll see the outliers or some unexpected things happens in our data set. So this is how histogram can be plotted and how histogram can be used. Now we'll go for a bar, how to plot the bar graph. Yeah, similarly, same in every graph, we'll import the what the modules we need, and we divide the figure axis what we needed, and here we'll create, we got the x and y coordinates as C, C++, Java, Python, PHP as x coordinates, and students means the number of students who taken C is 23, C++ 17, Java 35, Python 29, PHP 12, right? And we're going to plot the bar graph, right? Bar graph can be plotted using the method dot bar. As we did, histogram can be plotted using the method dot hist, right? So similarly in to plot the bar graph, we use the method dot bar method. As I said, xtick labels as langs means the languages I'm using I'm using as xtick labels, and I'm plotting the graph. You'll see the output how we got the bar chart. Yeah, see, I think something happened. Okay, the first thing refers to the C, the number of students who taken a C language as their course. The second one C++, third one Java, and fourth one Python, fifth one PHP. Yeah, this is how we'll plot the bar graph in Matplotlib. I'll show how to plot or the merge the bar graphs. Means generally it's called a stacked bar graph. How to plot this? We'll see. Yeah, labels. As I said, to label the graph, we use these labels. Men means we are going to plot. Men means the number of members in the average value of the men in that particular data set. Women means the same as the average value of the women in the particular data set. Width represents the width of the bar, the width of the each bar, right? In last figure we saw the bar width as a large. Now I decrease it to 0.35 centimeters, and similarly I divided the uh, I made the axis what we need. In first bar I used the labels as x-axis, men means as y labels, and width of 0.35, and I label this as men. Similarly, as I said, in stacked bar we merge the two bar charts, right? To make the second bar chart, I use the labels as x-axis, the same x label, and y label I use the dataset women means and width as 0.35. While you'll get an idea what is meant by bottom while you see the output. Let it be, and I named as label is equals to women, and I set y label as scores and title as score group by scores by group and gender. And as you know, legend will create a box like thing which tells us the labels means what we plotted in the particular plot, and show method will as usually show the graph we got plotted. Yeah, now you see, now I say what the bottom means. If we given bottom is equals to m means we'll get the men's bar chart, means men's bar graph below. If we give bottom is equals to women means we'll get the women's bar chart below, and above the women's we'll get the men's. So bottom is the label which is used to plot bottom is the method which is used to plot the which is used which data set is used to plot below. Yeah. Here used men means so I got in everywhere I got men's bar graph below the women's bar graph. Yeah, I did. These are the simple examples where you can learn about how to plot in the plot using Matplotlib. You can experiment many things. There are many. Matplotlib is a very vast range where you go on experimenting and finding new plots. Many things we can discover in the Matplotlib by experimenting. Shankar sir.
Yes, yeah.
Can I go with Seaborn also?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can brief about collabs a bit,
Okay, sir.
and then start with the SQL.
Okay, sir. Yeah. At first, I'll show how to start with Google Colab. Google Colab is a platform developed by Google to the machine learning enthusiasts to do the projects, machine learning things in the Google cloud environment itself. Those who doesn't have any physical requirement. Without any physical requirement, we can do all the things in the Google Colab. Let's see. I'll say how to get started with Google Colab. At first, when you click collab.research.google.com, you'll see a pop-up with these things, examples, recent, Google Drive, GitHub, and upload methods. At first, first time when you get started with Google Colab, you will get all these as empty, and we'll get an option called New Notebook. When you click on a new notebook, a new notebook is created such that you'll get an environment like this where you can write code here, and when you click this play button like here, you'll execute the code, and in this Google Colab environment, we can use our CPU, or you have a very good physical resources when you can go to GPU, TPU, and everything. So this how to use Google Colab. And now we don't need import the data set, like things like in pandas you may learn how to import the data set. We'll import the data set when we are in a particular path, right? Here we'll upload the data sets and whatever the requirements for our machine learning program or a data analysis program. We'll import the files are required using this button, right? This is the button, upload button. We'll upload all the things we need here. Yeah, after now I'll show how to plot a Seaborn and about a brief introduction about Seaborn. As you know, NumPy will create arrays, pandas will create data frames, Matplotlib will plot the graph. Some enthusiastic scientist came and merged all those, made a hybrid thing called Seaborn, which can import data set, which can create arrays, which can plot. By using the Seaborn, we can do all the things what NumPy can do, pandas can do, Matplotlib can do. But a drawback is a drawback in Seaborn is a Seaborn is a simple API which will just generate a plot. By using the Matplotlib only, at last we need the plot plt.show method to get the plot. Seaborn will create is like an API which will take the input, which will generate the output. Again, a Matplotlib method is used to display the result. So I'll explain a simple program called a distplot, means a discrete plot in Seaborn. Okay, at first I'll start with Seaborn, first you find a new module called Seaborn, and I imported as SNS to make my work easy. Instead of using Seaborn everywhere, I use SNS from below this line. So now first I will get a method called SNS.set method. Set method is the basic thing for to plot a graph in Seaborn. In set method, we'll get all the parameters. Means style. Style means the background. If we give white as a style color, we'll get the white background. There are many parameters for style like dark dark grid and many such things. We can use all these parameters. We can experiment and we can draw new graphs. And palette is nothing but in Seaborn the colors are divided into many things using the method called palette. We have many palettes. I got muted palette. You'll see many things like Mako palette, VLAC palette, set3 palette. Means a palette is nothing but a set of colors. Means we'll see many colors. We'll have indefinite number of colors in our earth, right? This palette, so Seaborn creator used a method called palette, which he divided the specific colors into specific groups. In muted, we'll see almost the dark colors in muted set. We'll have in pastel method, we'll see in pastel palette, we'll see all the light colors what we need. And we got a parameter called color codes is equals to true. When you given this color code is equals to true, when you are plotting using in SNS, we'll use simple things like for where our color, we use the letter B for blue, right? For red. Instead, when you given color codes is equals to false, we need to give the hexadecimal values for the color blue, for the color red, for the color green. Wherever you need to use the color, we need to give the hexadecimal values for the color. When we use color codes is equals to true, we can use simply B for blue or for red, G for green, like this. Now same as in Matplotlib, we're going to divide the number of axes required. So as I mentioned earlier, first represents the number of rows, second parameter represents the number of columns. Here I'm going to create a 2x2 2x2 figure in which I divided the number of plots as 2 rows into 2 columns, so that I'll get total 4 plots. Like this, total 4 plots I'll get. And I mentioned figure size is equals to 7x7. Means figure size is nothing but to make the figure into a fixed size, we'll use a method called fig size method. When we neglect this fixed size method, automatically the Python compiler will fix the size of the figure according to the data set, according to the range of values we are plotted in it. When we mention figure size is equals to 7x7, we'll get a 7 centimeters width and 7 centimeters height, such that all the plots we are going to plot in a particular figure will fit into this 7x7, this 49 centimeter square space. Then share x is equals to 2. This share x is equals to 2 means we'll got a parameter called share x and share y. Share x is nothing but which we are giving when share x is equals to true, we are going to share the x-axis, right? Here you are seeing that -202 are going to see only for the plots which are plotted in bottom. For the plots which are at the top, we are not going to see the x-axis values, right? So when we give share x is equals to true, we'll get graph like this. When we give share x is equals to false, we'll see -202 here also, or for the top graphs also. It makes our graph backward, right? So I did the share x is equals to true. I use the parameter and a method called, here you called a method dspine. Dspine, when you simply let's see how the graph without dspine. You see, when you plot a graph without using a dspine method, we'll get a squares. We'll get each plot is covered, means plotted inside a square grid like thing. When we use a SNS dot dspine method, let's see. Simply when you use SNS.dspine method, it removes the top and right line for the square, and see the top line and the right line has got disappeared, right? So when we got dspine method to make our To make our graph to look better, or to look awesome, or to look beautiful, we use the method CNS dot display. Explicitly, when you give left is equals to true, including a top and right corner, right lines, left line will get disappeared. See, the left line also got disappeared, right? So the use of display method is like is this, and here D is the data set we need. The is a univariate data set, and using displot is nothing but displot is nothing but discrete plot which plots the histogram and the KD, kernel density estimate, in a single graph. What is the use of this displot? As I said, this histograms are used to uh, 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 get the outliers in the data set. Like a KD is used to know the density of the data set, right? Density of the data set means in a particular range we have, suppose we are going to sell a mobile phone. We'll make a data set. We'll see, we'll need to increase the sales. We need to see the age ranges, range of age who are buying the cell phone or a mobile phone more. Particularly, we'll see from the age 18 to 25, we'll see uh, the people who bought more mobile phones. By using kernel density estimate, we get these inferences from the data sets. At first, I'm going to plot a simple histogram using this plot. In this plot, we have a parameters called KD and hist. When we get KD is equals to false, we simply plot the histogram. When we give hist is equals to false, we simply plot the kernel density estimate. Okay, as in every method, in every method like plot or bar method or hist method, the first parameter is the data set, right? Simply in the sns.displot, the first parameter is the data set D, and KD is equals to false means we simply are going to plot the histogram, and color is equals to blue means we are plotting the color blue color, and axis is equals to axis of 0, 0. Now here we got divided into 2 cross 2, right? We divided the figure into 2 cross 2 means 2 rows into 2 columns. So in the axis space of 0, 0 means as you know, Python starts Python lists or array starts from 0th index, right? Whenever 0 appears, it is a first. So in 1 cross 1 means in first 0th, 0th space, we are going to plot this plot such that we don't have KD, means we are plotting a simple histogram. In the axis space of 0, 1, it means in first row and first row and second column. This is the first row, right? In first row and second column, we are going to plot the kernel density estimate using the rug plot. Rug plot means you'll see here the small lines are there, no, which represents the density. If you have a large, here you see in this particular we have a large in this particular range we have many things, right? The count of for this range is high. Now you see the particular here, the density, the color of the red color, the density of the lines is increased, is more like this. By using these lines, we'll infer that in this particular range we'll see the many customers like this. And color is we use it here red, and at the axis 0, 1, I said earlier. To plot kernel density estimate, using a simple graph, and to fill with this we need to know the area of plot. We'll use a filled kernel density estimate. Well, we use rug method as false, and color is equals to green color, and we use a method called KDE KWS as shaded is equals to true. Shaded is equals to true means we'll get a green color shaded here, right? What we'll see what happens when shade is equals to false. When we give shade is equals to false, here you'll see that the green shaded thing is gone. When we given shade is equals to true, you'll see that we'll get a shaded thing to look prettier. To make our graph prettier, you'll use these things. And we need to plot these at a particular axis of 1, 0 means a second row 0, first column we are going to plot this graph. Now to plot the simple displot means which includes both histogram and kernel density estimate in things, we need not to use all these parameters. we need to use the data set we needed or the array we needed, the color for the graph, and the axis we are going to plot at 1 comma 1 means in second row second column I'm going to plot the this plot. And this set p method is used to set the so to set the all the things we needed. Here we divided the axis right into 4, right? I need these axis and y-axis as empty. I'm giving specific things while plotting. uh, for this we will use the set p method. And a tight layout, you are going now you are seeing the new method called tight layout. A tight layout method is used to fix the plot. Wherever you go, fix the plot means in a particular space it will fit the graph wherever you execute. Suppose I'm executing this code in spider means you'll get the what is it you'll get the figure size or the area used by this figure will increase or decrease. To fix this area we'll use this tight layout method. When you use this tight layout method, wherever you execute in a normal Python IDE or a Spider or a Jupyter Notebook or a Google Colab or a Hebion platform, whichever you use, you'll get the same graph and same look. When you'll go, as you know, ELT.show method to show the graph what we produce using SNS means Seaborn. Now to plot different bar graphs in a single graph, how we are going to do. Now we're going to see simply now in this figure I divided the axis into 2 cross 2, right? uh, I divided the axis into 4 but with a single parameter axis. Instead of dividing like this, axis 1, axis 2, axis 3, I used a parameter here, x is equals to axis of 0 comma 0. Instead of this, how to divide the axis means instead of if you are feeling this difficulty in specifying like this, we can make this thing at the time of dividing itself we'll give the name for the axis. Here I'm going to divide 3 rows and 1 column, right? For the first row on the first column I'm giving the axis name as axis 1. For the second row on the first column I'm giving the name as axis 2. On the third row on first column I'm naming the axis as axis 3. And I maintain the figure size as 8 cross 6 and share x is equals to 2. Here also I'm going to share the x-axis so that I'll get the x labels for the bottommost figure. For the top figures, for the except bottommost figure, the remaining all figures I'm not going to see the x label values. So to generate some sequential data, in first plot we're going to generate a sequential data. In second plot we're going to diverge to plot the data which is in the diverging nature. In third plot we are going qualitative data means the normal bar plot how we are going to plot. Okay, this x is nothing but we are making labels a b c d f g I j. You see here, right? A b c d f j I j. We are making the x labels here and y value as np of a range of 1 comma 11. As I previously said, a range will create a numpy array from a range of values 1 to 11. 1 to 11. Here I given step. I neglected the step parameter, right? When we gave a step parameter, when we didn't declare the step parameter, by default Python compiler will take a step as a 1. Now to bar plot to plot the bar graph. In matplotlib we use the dot bar method, right? Here we are using a bar plot method as x is equals to x means x coordinates, y coordinates, y is equals to y1, what the data set we have created here. And I said palette is equals to Mako. In Mako colors we'll see the colors of these ranges means colors of these color set of these colors. When we use VLAC colors, we'll see the colors like blue, gray, orange, like a red, light red shade, maroon shade. When we use the set 3 colors, we'll see the set of colors in the set 3. This palette is nothing but a set of colors. And here I am using axis is equals to axis 1. Here in the top we use axis equals to axis of 0 comma 0, right? Instead of this we named here axis, right, as first 1 comma 1 is equals to x1, 2 comma 1 is equals to x2, 3 comma 1 is equals to x3. We simply use the name of the axis And I'm going to keep the y label as sequential, as y label is used to name the things, right? Name the x label, y label, or x label. Use the label method. So I plotted the first bar plot. While coming to second bar plot, I'm using the data set as y2 is equals to y1 minus 5.5. Means as a simple to create a data set, I use this equation. There is no particular reason why I use this equation. To simply create a data set which has a diverging nature, I use this equation. For simply to plot a bar graph, use a method called bar plot. First parameter is x coordinates, second parameter is y coordinates, and palette for the range of colors we need, and axis equals to axis 2. I'm using a y label method to keep to set for diverging. Similarly to plot the third bar graph, I used this equation to create a data set for the things for the third graph. And for bar plot, I use x, y, and palette as a set 3 palette, and axis equals to axis 3, and I label the y label as qualitative. And as I said, despine method is used to get rid from the square read created the graph, right? When we use the despine method, we'll get rid from the top line and right line. When we give bottom is equals to true, you'll see that the bottom line also got disappeared, right? In above example, we saw left is equals to true, means we'll get you'll see that left line got disappeared. Similarly, when we give bottom is equals to true, you will see that bottom line got disappeared. Similarly, set p means all the axes we had. Set p means we will keep the all the parameters we got created in SNS as f axis. All the axes we got created in the figure, and that as y ticks, I don't have any y tick label, so I kept y ticks as empty set. As I said, tight layout to keep the figure same everywhere, and show method to show the graph which got created in C1. Now I'm showing the bar plot intersection of two bar plots. How you will get the intersection of these two bar plots. At first, I'm going to import all the libraries I needed. Next, as I said, SNS.set, I'm used in both above examples, I used style is equals to white, right? Now I used style is equals to white grid. When I change the style, you'll see that the background has changed, right? We got a lines right here. This is called as a white grid background. Means you'll see the lines here, right? Uh, you'll see the gray lines at the background. When we give white grid, we'll see these lines. And again, I'm going to make the subplot. Here I didn't give the number of rows and number of columns. Means I'm using a single axis. Means in my figure I have only one plot. Now, as I said, SNS is a hybrid thing which can do the work of NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib. So in Pandas we use the method called pandas.load data. Here we use a method called sns.load dataset to load the dataset called car crashes, and we are sorting these data frame using the total in the descending order. When we will give ascending is equals to false, means we are going to sort the values of the car crashes in the descending manner using the parameter called total. Now we will see the crashes dataset. In crashes, we'll see you're seeing like so many columns, right? Total, speeding, alcohol, not distracted. Here, this crashes dataset will infer you the crashes or accidents happen due to the overspeed, due to the alcoholist, due to the distraction, like something, some parameters here. And abbrev method is the place where the accident has happened. This is about the data set of crashes. Now I sorted the crashes using the total parameter in the descending order. Now to plot the now I'm going to plot, right? We can use a set color codes is equals to pastel independently, or we can set a palette. Here a bar plot is right now. Here we can add we can use a parameter called palette is equals to. Instead of this, I showed explicitly how you can create a color code, means how you can use palette by using the method called set color codes. We can derive the colors from the pastel method. In pastel method, you'll see all the light colors. When we get the muted, you'll see all the dark colors. Okay, here I'm going to plot the bar plot as x-axis is equals to total. As y-axis, I said y-axis simply states the accident where happened, and data is equals to crashes, label is equals to total, color is equals to blue. Here you may see now in this example, you clearly understand what is the use of palette. Here you can see that in both the bar plots, I use the color is equals to B, right? Means B means blue. While we are importing the palette is equals to pastel, we are importing the light blue color. When we are importing the muted palette, you'll see that same blue color, but it turned into dark blue color. So in different palettes, for the same color, we have different colors. In blue, we have light blue, dark blue, sky blue, like things like those things, right? So these are divided into number of color groups. Similarly, I plotted the first bar plot. So in second bar plot, I used the parameter alcohol, means the car crashes happened due to the alcoholists. So I use the x is equals to alcohol, y is equals to the place where happened, and these x and y labels I got, these x and y values I got from the data called crashes data set, and I label this bar plot as alcohol involved. You'll see this here, right? I label is used in first bar plot. I used a total as a label. In second bar plot, I use alcohol involved. When you give label here, you'll see those things at bottom or anywhere, such that it doesn't intersect with the graphs or lines produced by the Seaborn or Matplotlib. Now a lesson method, as I said, lesson method is used to create a box here. Is used to create a box for the storing the labels what we got created. In lesson method, we got n columns and parameters called n columns and n rows. As I said, as n by default n rows is equals to 1. N columns I kept 2, right? So when I said n columns is equals to 2, we'll get the 2 columns. Means a box is divided into 2 columns. Let's see what happens when frame on is equals to true here. When you get a frame on is equals to true, you'll see that these labels are surrounded by a box, right? This is the use of the frame on here. And LOC is nothing but location. As I said, we can place this legend box at anywhere, right? So I explicitly placed this legend box as at the lower right corner. Now I set the axis as a x limit from 0 to 24. Means we'll see from 0 to 24 we'll get the x-axis, and y label I kept empty, and x label I given as automobile collisions per mile. Means I named the x-axis as automobile collisions per billion miles. And as you know, Despine method will remove the square grid around plot. By default, when you use the Despine method, top and right lines will get disappeared. When you use left is equals to true, bottom is equals to true, now you're seeing that there is no line here. Means there is no square surrounded by this plot. By using at last show method is used to show the graph produced by the Seaborn. So these are some simple examples where you can learn about how to plot using Seaborn. You can experiment many things in Seaborn. You'll find many methods to plot, many ways to plot. By experimenting, you'll get pro in this plotting. Sir, I'm done, sir. Shankar, sir. Yeah, guys. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the chat. I will reply. Hello, guys. Are you there? Yeah. You have any doubts? You can ask now. Shankar sir.
Yeah, Jeshwant.
Yeah, sir. I'm done.
Okay.
Okay. I
So
got a comment. How to upload to Google Colab? There is a button left side. You'll see a button called upload button. By using this, you can upload the files, whatever necessary to do with the particular experiment.
yeah, Jeshwant, let's do one thing. We'll create a step-by-step process for Google Colab.
Okay, sir.
Step one, how to start, get into Google, and how to start a collab, and how to upload the files, how to use the files, a few 5-6 steps,
Okay, sir.
and save that as a PDF and put it into the group.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we can basically end up the meeting, and so everyone, so go back to your pending sessions and complete those. So all of you come out from red and orange, complete all of your sessions, and so that in next session we can be able to start the project work.
Yeah, Shraddha, there are many palettes, not only muted, VLAG, not only those three I used. There are many palettes in Matplotlib which you can experiment while doing exercises.
Yeah, if anybody have any issues or any doubts, you can always post it in a group, or you can reach out to Jashwant. He's also there in the group. Okay, take care, guys, and practice well. We are stepping into project development, so we'll do some hard work, spend the maximum hours. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.